Hey everybody, this is Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 19 playthrough with the Phillies. We are 20 games left in the 2036 season, and honestly, the theme of this episode is let's just get through it. Let's just get to the end. We are at 62 and 80. We're not going to make our goal, which was to play close to 500 ball this season. 18 games below 500 with 20 to play. I did the math before I started the episode. We'd have to go 19 and 1. So we'd have to win 19 of 20 to finish at 500. We'd have to win all 20 to finish above 500. We'd have to really, just to stay under 90 wins, we're going to have, 90 losses, we're going to have to play better than 500 ball in these last 20 games. And that's pretty much my goal. We got 20 games left. I'm hoping we win 11 of them, finish 11 and 9. That'll be a positive for me. Looking at the team screen, we'll look at a few things here before we take a look at the league and then the team. But we got Espinal's been really hot lately. He's still in the bullpen now. I think I have him. Let me make sure if I have him at my closing position. Nope. I've got Juan Mendoza as closer, but Espinal's having a pretty good run. What was it? 16 games, 17 innings, no earned runs. That's pretty good. Lugo's looking good too in the bullpen. 17 innings, a .53 ERA. So the bullpen's been pretty good. LaRue has really struggled, and I've got him signed to a long-term contract. He's injured again. I'm just waiting to see what kind of injury he's going to have. Unfortunately, he doesn't have on his contract. There's a player opt-out, but he's with me for at least through next year. And I'm guessing unless he has a career-ending injury, I'm probably going to be stuck with this contract through 2038. And I don't think he's going to be any better than what he's done this year. Last year, he gave us a pretty decent year, 13 wins, 3.4 wins above replacement, 219 strikeouts. I was happy with that, honestly. It's just he got injured late in the year, I believe, and missed most of this season already. And now he's going to probably miss I'm guessing he's going to have a pretty tough injury and miss the rest of the year. But 1-8, a 6.14 ERA, just not good at all. I don't know if he was ready to come back. I'm really not sure what the deal was there. But one of the things that I'm perplexed by in some ways, I know the shortfalls that this team has. I mean, it's the budget hit us from the new owner. I've said a few times, and we just don't have a good farm system. We're not developing good players, and pitching is just kind of a middle-of-the-road type starting rotation. No real true dominant offensive or pitching players on the team. But I look at the statistics here, offense and defense. In some ways, we have a pretty decent mix. I mean, our bullpen's doing pretty good. Starters are really tanking. We're second in the league in strikeouts for what it's worth. We're doing good with walks. Our defensive efficiency could be better, so I get that. But offensively, I know we don't have a lot of power, and that shows. But average on-base percentage, stolen bases, strikeouts, we're doing really good, you know. And I'm not really sure why we are struggling so badly. You know, runs scored, we're sixth. So I know, we're sixth in runs scored, we're 12th in runs allowed. That's gonna hurt you. But is it really 18 games below 500 gonna hurt you? The big thing was July and September, though. I've really heard it. 7 and 17 in July, 3 and 9 in September so far. So we've hit some pretty poor streaks right here. That's definitely another problem that's hurt us. And then the injuries. I mean, LaRue's going to be gone now. Losing Villa, who this guy should have been. He is almost to the level of superstar caliber player where he could probably based on what he's done when he's been healthy, I mean, he could give you. I mean, he was just for instance, last year in 88 games starting, 97 games overall, so not quite 2/3 of the way through the season, he was a 4.1 wins above replacement. Even this year, 47 starts, he was a 1.7 wins above replacement. So this guy's about a 5-6 plus wins above replacement type player. It's just the injuries, of course, have been too much. And I don't think I'm going to try to re-sign him unless I get him really cheap. But that's been a problem for the team as well. But it is what it is. Let me go ahead and take a look at the league standings. At least we'll look at some of the other races. Starting in the American League with the Tampa Bay Rays leading the way in the American League East. The Yankees maybe got an outside chance of the wild card, but they got a lot of ground to cover. Chicago doing really well in the Central. Kansas City coming on strong and playing tough. Both Detroit and Kansas City would be in line for the wild card right now. Houston, pretty much a cakewalk in the West. 9-game lead. Some of the guys that having good years, Ken Godsey, this guy is a powerhouse. Or what is it? This will probably be third straight year, 50-plus home runs. Looks like, let's see, I saw his name here, Kinsler. Still valuable. He's 6.1 wins above replacement. He's led the American League for the last 5 seasons in wins above replacement, 6 times in his career. He's getting up there to Hall of Fame caliber numbers, and he's just 32. So expect him to get to 2,000 hits, 500 home runs next year if he's healthy. Zach Owenby still having a pretty decent year. And then for the National League, we've got a couple guys here on the leaderboards with stolen bases. Koopman still, his average has been pretty high. I moved him over to second. I think he's played pretty solid the last couple of months since that trade for Mike Swan. Swan has not been too bad either. I mean, I'm pretty happy with him as a ball player. I hated that I had to give up Ma. But I want to take a look at how Ma did or is doing for Chicago. He's really kind of struggling. I mean, his power's there, but his average is down this year. So it could turn out to be, all things considered, he's 31. So he's about, I'm going to say 5 years older than Swan. Ma could be starting to take a dive already in his ratings, and he might not turn out to be that good of a player going forward. So I'm hoping this trade, I don't regret it too much. And then Mayhew from Atlanta, a guy I kept seeing in trade offers when I was throwing some guys out earlier. I didn't go for him, but he's having a pretty decent year, 14 wins, leading the league. No other Phillies, though, on the leaderboards there, it looks like. And you look at the actual races, looks like National League East could be pretty tight there between the Nationals, Braves, and Mets. I believe these 3 teams made it last year in the playoffs. It looks like they're on pace to do it again this year. Then Central, it's Cubs and Pittsburgh having quite a race there, just 2 games separating them. And then Colorado Rockies up over Arizona and San Diego. So that could be a tight race going down the stretch. But let's go ahead and just get through these next few games. We're going to be playing New York to start at home. Let's see if we can at least win a series here. We won the first game 2-1. Swan batting leadoff scored a run there for me. And I moved when I picked up Swan. He wasn't playing that great for a while. I moved him to leadoff and Vargas down to third. And Vargas responded pretty well as soon as I made that move, but he's chilled out quite a bit. September has been a terrible month for him. Hines had another good game. He's been not as hot as he was since that last episode. Mendoza, his 16th save. It looks like Espinal finally gives up a run. Let me take a look at the news here. I think they're moving slow for some reason. I might have something going on in the background there. Chris Kidd got his 300th save. Reds out of the playoffs. So game 2 against New York. rained out, so we're going to have a doubleheader here. And we split it, so that's not too bad. An injury here at Lakewood. Let's see if this is a Chris Fick. Nah, not a big prospect. So we lost the first game of the doubleheader pretty bad, 3-11. Vargas scored a couple runs. Lohman looks like he's on pace to get close to 100 RBIs, but he's had a pretty bad year too. And Hartling, God, he's really stunk it up. 2 innings, 9 earned runs. And then we won the second game 3-1. Swan scored a couple. Vargas had 2 hits, drove in 2. Koopman 3 hits. So those 3 guys have been, for the most part, pretty good. McSparron injured. That figures. Mendoza picked up his 17th save. The injuries are out of control. And I may just have to see about turning it down finally, because it's getting to the point where now McSparron's out for 5 weeks. I understand injuries are part of the game, but when you're in the situation that I'm in, and it looks like LaRue wasn't injured that much, or it must have been a day-to-day injury. But when you're in the situation that I'm in with this team, just struggling to put a competitive team together, you can't afford those kind of injuries. They just they cripple you. So is there anyone? Let me see what the pitching staff looks like now. Espinal's doing so well as a setup guy. I'm hesitant to move him to a starting role. I moved Madrak out of there because I know I'm not going to re-sign him, and I wanted to give some other guys a chance. So do I go back with? Let's just go back with Furlong, and then I'll make Madrak. Let's see, make him the emergency starter. So looking at the news, so LaRue, he just had an injury that he was able to overcome. Now, I don't know if, it's one more year that I've got McSparron for. At times, he looked pretty decent this year. Like June, 5 starts, 372 RI. August was a really good month for him. 6 starts, 3 wins, no losses. He's just very up and down, and really always has been. And so we're out of the playoffs with that last game here. But we won 2 of 3, so let's see if we can keep going. Some staff leaving there in the low minors. Now we got Miami at home, and we win 7-1. Pretty big win there to start the series. 1 through 3 looked pretty good. Lohman had a home run. Cochran has 71 RBIs, so he's been fairly productive. 19 home runs. Stern looking good, and then Lugo, who was injured for quite a bit there mid-season, he's back and had a good game, 7 innings, just 1 run. Second game, we win 3-1, so the pitching is really doing really good right now. Koopman's still doing good. LaRue, 7 innings, just 1 run, no earned, so good outing from him. And now, can we sweep Miami at home? And we don't, but we did another good series win, though. Two games out of 3. Looking at the offense here, Cochran 2 for 4, hit his 20th home run. His individual numbers are still looking good. He just hasn't moved too much in overall potential from my scout. But overall, I'm pretty happy with that year. I know you can get more production out of first baseman. Typically, that's where you get a lot of your power and RBI numbers from, but it wasn't a terrible year from him. Furlong, though, that may have been a poor move to put him in the starting rotation. 5 runs in 3 2/3. Let's take a look at the news. Miranda hit for the cycle. Man, he is hitting 375. And then Players of the Week, Josh Aksh, who is now with the Yankees, former Philly, who I traded away to San Diego. Who did I trade him for? He was a salary dump, pretty much. I traded him for Chrysalis. No. Sorry. Dusty's turn. So, they got the better player, but he was not worth the $28 million still, and he's signed through 2037. But he's having, a pretty decent year for New York, playing limited time. And then National League, it was Kellen Gales. I've seen his name quite a bit. And power rankings, we are 25th out of 30. Not good. But we're a 3-game series at home against Washington, who are 5 games up in the East. And we win big that first game, 11-2. Swan 1 for 3, but Andrus played shortstop. Wow, didn't realize he could play shortstop. Koopman 4 for 5, good game from him. Cochran, another good game, 3 for 4, drove in 4. And then Hines, solid, 6-1 now on the year. 5 innings, just 1 run. And then game 2 against Washington, another 11-2 win. So we have won every series we've played since I've started simming this episode. A lot of good offensive numbers here. Multiple hits from several guys on the team. Swan 2 for 5, scored 2. Looking pretty good. Maybe that was a good move overall. And then Hartling bounced back, gave us a good outing, 5 2/3, just 1 run. And looking at the news, we're probably going to see a lot of teams out of the playoffs right now. Baltimore is the latest one. So can we sweep Washington? And we don't. 3-7. Ended pretty much like that Miami series. Swan, another good game there at the top of the lineup. Vargas, not too bad. Lugo was hammered pretty bad. 5 innings, 5 earned runs. Rozier didn't look too good in the bullpen either. Let's see if there's anybody. Chicago is in the playoffs. Is that the Cubs or the White Sox? White Sox. And Dave Roberts is their manager. Wow, I didn't expect to see that. I haven't really kept up too much with him, but in this playthrough, looks like he went to the Red Sox for a couple years, 24-25, after managing Dodgers for a long time and continuing to win with the Dodgers. He won Manager of the Year 4 straight years in this playthrough from 19 to 22. Then he went to the White Sox and kind of kept them competitive. In the last 3 years, they've won the division, made the playoffs twice. They're now made the playoffs 3 times in a row. So he's had a good manager career there. So now on the road against Atlanta for 4. First game, 3-1. So good way to start it out. Jim Kaufman, 300 home runs. Man, this guy is a big power hitter. And hitting coach Marlon Anderson retires from Lehigh Valley. Let's see how we won this game. So the pitching has been pretty good at times here in these last few games. Multiple hits from several guys on the lineup. Cochran 2 for 4, getting close to 290 for the year. LaRue, another good outing from him. So maybe he's getting over his injury. Maybe I'll have to rethink what I said to start the episode. Maybe he will give me another good solid year from his contract. So game 2 against Atlanta, 5-2. Looks like we're playing the role of spoiler here down the stretch. So we win 5-2. Swan, a good game there at the top of the lineup. He is 3 for 5 in that game. He's hitting 285 since he joined us. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this guy. It was definitely an upgrade at shortstop for me. And then Skylar Dutch had a good game for him. Furlong, 7 innings, no runs. Good way to bounce back from him. And then we've got, looks like we have Montalvo coming off the DL. I think I've been using Montalvo as a setup guy. So I'm going to use him like setup, probably 7th or later, and maybe move yeah, I'll just keep it like that for now. So game 3 against Atlanta, we've already guaranteed a split of the series. Can we win it? And we do, 7-1. Another great game from Swan. 3 for 5, scored a couple. Koopman 2 for 5, drove in 2. I wonder how close he is to. He's at 180 hits now for the year. So he's not going to get to 200, but next year I might give him more starts at second. He might. Cochran, another good game for him. 4 for 4, hitting 290 for the year now. Maybe he is starting to show the development I was hoping I'd see from him. For September, 7 home runs, 18 RBIs, a 372 batting average. I'm going to be interested to see what his next scouting report from my scouting director, what it shows for him. And Hines, his 7th win, so he's 7-1 since I traded for him. 12 wins, is that 11? No, wait, 10 wins on the year now. But he has looked really good since I traded for him. And I traded away Andy Padgett, so I don't think I lost too much. Padgett's doing a lot better for Oakland than he did for us. So look at the news real quick. Houston wins the American League West. So 4th game against Atlanta. Can we sweep them? We do. 4 games on the road against Atlanta, and we win them all. Winning that final one 8-5. Swan, 2 runs in this one. Koopman, a great game. Lohman, I don't know if he hit a home run in this one. No, but he drove in a couple. And then Hartling, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 9 Ks to get his 8th win. I think he's looked a little bit better these last couple starts after that really horrific start that was early in the playthrough. So I'm going to take a look at the weekly news here. We're going to be playing Arizona next. And Ben Essem, Player of the Week in the American League. But how about this? J.D. Cochran for the Phillies, Player of the Week in the National League. He's hitting 292 now. He was 13 for 25, 520 average, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Great week for him. And then power rankings, we moved up a little bit, I bet. We're up to 12th. And if you look at the standings, we've won 4 in a row, 8 of 10. So we're up to 72 wins. I said starting off the episode that I would be happy if we could keep our loss total below 90. So we've got 7 games left. We're going to be on the road against Arizona for 4, and then at home against Atlanta for 3. Atlanta's probably going to be looking for payback on that one. But if we just win one more game, we will at least meet that goal. So hopefully, let's hope we have a good final week. Maybe win even 3 of 6. Maybe win 4 of 6. That would be not a bad way to end the season. So start out against Arizona, Arizona not eliminated yet, but they're getting close. So first game we win big, 10-1. Oh man, it's incredible the run that we're having here. Swan, another good game. His average up to 291 with us. Koopman 2 for 5. Cochran continues to be good. 2 for 5, drove in 3. And Lugo, another decent start, 5 innings, but 8 strikeouts, no earned runs. Really good bullpen work there. So we met the goal, 73 wins. Now, next game against Arizona. On the road, we win again, 3-1. And we're into October. Let me take a look at this game first. It was our 74th win of the year. Swan 3 for 5. Dude's just playing really good right now. Vargas struggling a little bit, but I'm going to keep him in that 3rd spot for now because honestly, Swan is playing so good at leading off. Pitching wise, LaRue, another decent game. Only gave me 4 innings, but just 1 run. Picked up his 4th win. Espinal still looking good in the bullpen there. But the player development update just came through. Let me take a look at what we're looking at for some of these guys here. So Arturo Roca, I'm not sure. I'm not expecting too much from him. So he gave me potential control ratings. But Drac lost a couple of things here, so he's not going to be back. And I'm sure he'll get signed. He's still 3.5 star, 3-star now though in the OSA. I'm sure he'll get signed somewhere, but it's just not worth it for me. And then Hines, 2.5 stars overall, but he's looked really good for me at 27 years old. Possible he might develop. I mean, one of the good things I like about him is all three of his primary ratings there, stuff, movement, control, are at um, a decent rating. Like if stuff was 14, control was 13, but movement was say 10 or even 11, might give me concern. Or control was 10 and 11, the other ones were the same. But being all that three like that, I think this guy should have a pretty good chance to be a decent starter, and maybe fourth or fifth starter, maybe be his tops. Hartling lost some. Not sure how he's going to fit into this team. He's arbitration eligible. I'm not sure what I'll do with him though. Furlong picked up movement and I think what was it, control, stuff. 2.5 stars still though. I just wish his fastball was a little bit stronger, and his stamina's not there. Cochran lost a little bit more than I was hoping to see. His I rating improved, but contact rating went down actually, and he's still just a 2.5 star potential from my scout. Kwarteng lost some. It may be time to think about trading him and bring Norman in for the next few years. Lohman, 3.5 stars, but he's losing a few ratings as well. Dusty Stern, his power went up. And then Eric Nelson, where did this guy come from? He's at Lehigh Valley, but he's only 18. Not sure why he is there. He is not, don't think he's ready for that, Lehigh Valley. And so big movement from Norman. Contact went up. Potential contact went up. So he's 11 now, potential 14. His catcher rating is okay. His arm's not that great. But he had a decent year at AA. He's ready for AAA at the minimum at the moment. So I will at least move him up to AAA and maybe take a look at him in spring training next year. But, man, Luis Alvarado, he potential... I wouldn't say closer, but he's potential decent bullpen guy in the making. He had a great year at high A. But I didn't see a whole lot of positive movement that I was hoping for overall in my player ratings. But let's take a look at some of the monthly awards. Brandon Kinsler Jr., Player of the Month for September. This guy is just amazing. So 473 home runs for his career now. And then Mike Elwell, 63 home runs, 148 RBIs. He's rated at a home run power of 20, so that's 20 out of 20. You don't see that too much. He's going to have one of the better power and RBI numbers I've seen in a while in this playthrough. 30 years old, 372 home runs for him. Phil Carey was the pitcher of the month. This guy's got 40 saves already. And then Alfredo Ramos for San Francisco. Good individual ratings from this guy, but low stamina, 2.5 star from my scout and OSA. So I don't know if they're putting him as a starter or not. Rookies of the month, Hirano and Cochran. So Cochran at least got some notice for that month he had. And let me look and see. He hit 375, 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, scored 16 runs. Elwell, 14 home runs, 31 RBIs. I guess that's why he won it. So Detroit makes it. Kansas City makes it. Nationals clinched. Well, they're in the postseason. Haven't clinched yet. And then the Rockies win the West. So Game 2, that win against Arizona knocked them out. So Game 2 against Arizona, we lose 5-6. So New York Mets are in the wild card. Let's see how this one went. Lohman 3 for 5, but it looks like we were resting a few guys there at that leadoff, and that kind of maybe threw us off. Furlong, another bad game from him. Game 3 against Arizona, another loss, 3-6. Koopman, though, was 3 for 5. Vargas 2 for 4. Hines, not too bad. 5 innings, 3 runs. Flores, Gave up 2 in relief, though. Hurt us in that game. So we're down to the last series, going up against Atlanta at home. A record 74-85. Be nice if we can win 2 or 3 here to close it out. Game 1, we lose 1-4. Not good. Koopman, Vargas. I'm not seeing Swan too much. Is he just? So it looks like Koopman's tired. Maybe Swan was needing a rest there. But pitching wise, what do we get out of this one? Vargas was 3 for 4. Hartling, 8 innings but 4 runs. Not a great game. And Deshaun Woolard, 3-star pitcher. Got some good individual ratings though. I just don't know who I could trade. I mean, if I look at the trade options here on this guy, trade for player, they're going to tell me I have nothing that's going to make it work. And I don't know what I can even play around with that would make it work. So the White Sox do win the Central. Now game 2 against Atlanta, 4-7, losing 10 innings. So looks like we're going to end on a losing streak here if we can't turn it around. And that Atlanta 89 wins, they're still probably fighting for the wild card at this point. Swan back in the lineup, 2 for 5, makes his average since joining us 300. Lohman may have hit another home run. Nope, but he has 26 for the year. Pretty off year for him. And then pitching wise, Lugo didn't look bad, but Montalvo, Mendoza, Wright, not too good in relief. So now New York, the Yankees are out of the playoffs. Pittsburgh came from behind, looks like, or they overcame Chicago. And now you've got Atlanta and Chicago, just 1 game separating them in that final wild card spot. So this could be definitely a spoiler for us, but we've lost 4 in a row. I think we lost the magic that we had going on that streak. But let's see what we get. And we win big. We win big, and Atlanta still makes the playoffs because Chicago lost. Good way to end the season, a 14-1 drubbing of Atlanta. That's always good. So Swan was only 1 for 6 this game, but really looked good for us since he came over, and he's a good defensive shortstop. He's got good power personality ratings, so I think he's going to be with us for the next couple years at least. Vargas ended pretty good, brought his average back up above 270. He still gives you pretty good on-base percentage, good speed. He is a run scoring. Probably one of the best consistent run scorers I've had on this team. For his career, he's at 842. He's just 30 years old. 31, sorry. I really wish he would have held on to this pace, say, right here a little bit longer. I think at that point he was really one of the best overall players, certainly on the team, but I think in the league. He was an all-star in 31 and 32, so he was getting some recognition. It's just, unfortunately, an injury in 33 that may have hurt him, but he's never been that same player that he was in those 2 years, especially defensively. Defensively, this guy needs to be moved to left field. There's no question. He's hurting us playing center. I mean, his zone rating at center is negative 16.1. So that's got to be addressed this offseason. I can't hold it off any longer. He's going to be signed now, definitely through next year. He's got a player opt-out, and then the last 2 years will be a team opt-out with a buyout. I mean, that's probably something that we'll have to seriously consider when it comes to that. But I still think he's had a good career for us, 1,400 hits. He may get 1,000 runs or more before it's all said and done. Maybe over 400 stolen bases, maybe over 30 wins above replacement. So not too terrible. But Lohman, looking at the rest of the lineup, Lohman 4 for 5, finished with a home run. Cochran came through pretty strong. I hope he develops a little bit in the offseason, though. Kwarteng, 3 for 4, Tipton 3 for 5, and LaRue finished strong, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 7 Ks. So he's going to be in the mix next year, I guess, if he stays healthy. He finished September and October, not too bad. And really, even in August, he looked pretty good. He came off the DL at the end of June. So you can see it was rocky, those first 6 starts for him. He kind of turned it around a little bit, though. I'm hoping that, he is a mid-rotation starter. That's about where he fits with the team. But I'm hoping that he'll bounce back, maybe have a similar year next year that he had in 2035. So we're going to finish up looking at the news here and power rankings. We finished 19th. Not too bad. Let's see if there's any awards here in the minors for us. So I don't know if we're in that league. I'm not seeing anything there. So Tampa Bay wins the American League East. Atlanta in. Nationals win the National League East, and then the Cubs out. So looking at the standings, let's go to when the playoffs begin here. And we have a banning champion. So unlock that. First time in this playthrough, that didn't seem right. But Koopman did lead the league in batting for the year, so that's cool. In the American League, though, Medina, 355. This guy has really turned into a solid player the last 3 years, maybe 4 years, actually. Probably one of the better players in the American League at this point. Might have a good shot at the MVP this year for Kansas City. Koopman, though, glad that I was able to give him more playing time. I think at 26, he'll be 27 going into the next year. Several years of team control left. I would like to hold on to this guy. He is a former first-round draft pick as well. I forget about that. I mean, he had some good potential coming out of the draft. So looking at the playoff coverage, it's going to be Kansas City, Detroit in the wild card, and then I'll just look at the tree here. And Braves and Mets. So it was 3 teams from the National League East, 3 teams from the American League Central, and then Tampa Bay and Houston, Colorado and Pittsburgh. So pretty decent mix. Not teams that you're used to seeing for the most part, except for maybe in the East, National League East. Tampa Bay, of course, has had a great a great run. But that'll do it. I'll go through the playoffs and the off-season award winners. And I'll come back probably around free agency and see what we got to do with this team, provided I'm not fired this offseason. When I look at the front office, we're going to have Madrak. Rozier, I'm going to let go. He doesn't cost me a lot. He gives me a lot of outings and innings. But I just think a 4+ ERA for a reliever for that long of a space. He was an all-star actually in 2031, mainly because of the amount of wins I think that he had. He's never really blown me away as a reliever, and at this point, 3 stars. I don't think there's 2 pitches, and they're not really, neither one of them is a dominant pitch. I think it's time to let him go. But I will save almost $20 million from those 2 guys. And then salaries, arbitration-wise, I got Montalvo coming up. Villa, who I'm more than likely going to let go. Kwarteng, Swan, Ben Wright, Espinal. So it'll be a little bit of a wash. I would say they're saying $97 million, so I'm picking up maybe $6 million in salary savings. But I am going to let Villa go. He's 6 weeks from coming off the DL, and I can't really trade him right now because of that long-term injury. So I hate to just release him, but I'll have to see what he gets in arbitration, honestly. And if it's not too much, looking back at what they're saying here, they're predicting 10 million. So that's almost double what he made last year. That's a lot. That's a lot to risk because I don't want to give him that money and then not be able to trade him. He is when he's healthy, I think he is a 10 million plus. I wouldn't have really any concern paying him that much money because I think that's how good a player he is, based on his ratings, all across the line and his personality. But he's just not. He's not going to be healthy enough to get your money back. So I'll have to address that in arbitration, and I'll have to see something here. I mean, I've got LaRue at 3 stars would be my best starting pitcher going in next year in that rotation. So I've got to somehow either trade or something. I've got to get somebody decent in. I'd say 4-star would be ideal, but I need a really good, solid starting pitcher. And that's, as always, that's been the focus every year. Outfield, I think it's time to probably look at some upgrades there. Tipton, I don't think he's a good long-term solution. Left field, I'm really hurting. I would love to move Vargas to left and then just fill out that outfield a little bit better. A couple guys here I might keep, but only for bench play. And I don't really have anybody. Luis Aguirre, I think, is going to be ready for, he's ready for AAA as far as that goes. And so is Ian Norman. I may give them a look in the off season or in spring training, but I really don't know if Aguirre is going to be good enough to make a starting lineup. So I've got the outfield to upgrade. I'm going to throw J.J. Lohman out there and see what kind of trade offers I get for him. Juan Padilla might be somebody I can trade. He might help, give me some bullpen depth if I need it, trade for that. Quartang I'll probably keep, knowing that either Quartang or Norman is going to be the long-term solution for me at catcher. And then the bullpen and starting rotation, it's just going to really depend on how it shakes out when these guys go to after I get through free agents claiming or when the free agents become available. It's going to depend on how many holes I have there on that pitching staff. I just took a look here at Espinal again as a starter. I'm still thinking he is more suited for relief right now. But anyway, not to drag on. As always, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll have a job here and as I sim ahead, and I'll see you next episode when we try to rebuild this Phillies team. Thanks.